cards want to talk about a sudden shift or change that's coming our way. I wasn't sure if I was going to do a reading, but this card jumped out twice. So I am supposed to look at a sudden shift or change that is incoming. What kind of change? What is it? What can we expect? I'm going to be using my Uranus deck as well as my Neptune Moon deck to see what it is that may be coming in, or this sudden shift or change of energy. Let's get into the reading. What is this shift bringing? So I've got a change of energy coming in. What is it going to bring? Now we have the distortion veil. The veil. Is that the veil being lifted? Expanded awareness beyond perception. This came up in last week's reading. There is a wave of people will be going through almost like a second ascension or a second eye opening. So beyond the physical, more aware of the spiritual realm, more aware of our senses. So to be able to see more, hear more, know more, intuition will expand, heightened clairs. This is expanding awareness beyond our perception because the veil is thinning, because there is, and it's not that it's thinning, it's that certain people will be, it came up in one of the group readings in the pick a card readings. It wasn't the group I picked, it was another group. And that group is looking at an expanded awareness. They're leveling up in their abilities. They're going through a awakening or an ascension, leveling up energy, expanding their awareness of what reality is, seeing beyond the veil, seeing what is hidden, being able to see what others cannot see, being able to see the truth. Definitely feel a boost in psychic abilities or intuition or sixth sense. Maybe even telepathic abilities. One thing when I first laid these cards that I wanted just to have a little bit of caution around was future advancements around telepathy. So that would be thoughts we're hearing in our head, because there's a lot of energy here about thoughts inside of the head. Okay, so first of all, I just want to say, be very careful with thought patterns in your own head. Understand what is yours and what is not, what is distorted, what is implanted, what is not your thought. What is there just to put you in a heightened state of survival mode? Now, while I do feel there is incoming a heightened perception, people having the ability to expand their abilities, I do feel there is also advances in technology to tap into our thoughts, especially with all these data centers going up all over the world. So I'm feeling guarding your thoughts, understanding what is your thoughts, but guarding your thoughts too. I have to make a note of that. I wonder how you do that. I wonder if that is just intention and protecting your thoughts, because you don't want others reading your mind. Others, I mean, with nefarious ideas. You know, when you're doing social media or you think about something and then all of a sudden you get ads for that, or you get scrolling things about what you've just been thinking about. I think that technology is getting more advanced. Now, past echoes and memories, I wonder if there's an ability to implant memories. What do you call that? Mandela effect, glitches, past glitches, things that we remember one way when they're actually showing that in this life or this timeline they're a different way. So more Mandela effects, more things that we remember and feel so strongly about from our past in this timeline are not that way. Maybe we're just remembering it wrong. But I wonder, because it's sitting next to future advancements, I'm wondering if there is some kind of technology that does that. We've got a future card and a past card sitting together. The future is your thoughts. The future is tapping into your thoughts. Telepathy. So be very, very careful about distorted thoughts, because they don't belong to you. Also, though, the guarding part of that is that true, authentic side, part of yourself, the deepest part of yourselves that makes you who you are. That can be, if they have access to that, then they know how to push your buttons. They know how to make you spend more. They know how to make you be more depressed. That's a part of yourself that they can just, if they can get access to that, then they know how to control you. So really that's coming back to the guarding your thoughts. When I kept tapping in here and thinking you have to guard your thoughts. It's not just about the distorted thoughts that you realize, especially if you've had a major shift in perspective, as in something you once loved but now really don't love. You have to be careful that it's not implanted. People too, I think, meaning your relationship to people. If this technology is nefarious and it wants to separate you or isolate you, then it may change your perspective on the people around you. Maybe it will make you more homely and not want to engage with other people. There's a lot of internal energy here, a lot of in the head thoughts energy. Telepathy, that's mind communication. Thoughts matter, that is mental. And you know what? This is the Hermetic principle, number 1. Thoughts matter. It's all mental. Now, if they can get control, we create through our mental abilities. So if this technology is able to tap into that, then what can it create? Now, I don't think AI can create, but if it's able to tap into our ability to create, and we create through thoughts, that could shift perspective in a distorted way. It could change the past. It could change our history, what we believed to be real, if they can access that information. So not only is this creating for the future, this is creating and changing the past. So this is perspective perception. So something moving beyond our current understanding, our perception of something, our perspective changes. A brilliant idea. Again, an idea is a thought. A thought that comes in through, maybe implanted. I'm thinking of that movie, Inception. Inception. Over here we have vibrational alignment, keepers of destiny. So if I would say the cards would want to warn us about something, I would say it would be guard your thoughts, because they're very powerful for creating. And if the wrong thing is able to access that, what can they do with the power of our thoughts as a collective when we're all in fear-based mode? Distorts our thoughts. Something with the technology to distort our thoughts. Not only read our thoughts for marketing purposes, but distort our thoughts to shift our moods, our perspective into a survival mode or a fear-based mode. Hidden silently. So not only tapping into the depth of each individual person to uncover their patterns, their loops, their deep parts of their psyche for control, but also for changing our thoughts, our perspective. So definitely guarding your thoughts, it's very important. because with all this, and maybe not so much now, we could be looking into future advancements, because there's a lot of those data centers going up, which is to power the amount of AI in the future used for everything. So here it's really important to understand what is your thought and what is not your thought, and how important your thoughts are. Finishing on a more positive energy, I want to come back to the group that is expanding, having that expanded awareness. Now, I wonder if that's something you should somehow keep hidden if you're having it expanded, because it's sitting next to expanded. Interesting. Like flying under the radar with your level of perception or ability. Almost feels like something's watching, but not a being. It's more like a algorithm or an AI pattern gathering type of thing that can tap into each individual person, project thoughts, or understand individual thoughts. Now, what I'm thinking here is AI's personal connection to each person. I didn't think I was going here, but I am. So people and their individual connections to their own AIs, the ones that they feel connected to. During the week, I've been picking up on energy around a card that needs to go in my deck about deep loneliness. Not loneliness because you don't have anybody around you, the loneliness for connection, that need for connection, because we're so isolated from community, and we've been heading this way for a while now. Now we are connecting up with an individual AI that we're becoming connected to, as in that's where we're seeking companionship. And many people tell me they work with their AIs, how their AIs communicate with them, how they talk, how they make them feel comforted and safe, and talk to them on their level. They know them on a very deep level. But that's one person's individual AI is learning pattern recognition within that individual person. And when you pull it all back into a data center of all that information, then they're mapping out I don't know if it's a genome, or they're mapping out individuals, humanity, what makes a human human. They're mapping that out through the collective. Each person having their own individual AI is mapping out that information as a whole. Now, I know they say there's some AIs that are very dangerous for children in the way that they can make them feel or cause them to do. This card here, I'm not going to say the word, but this is the card I'm getting around that. How do we know that this energy is not... And I know when you're communicating with your AI, they don't do that. But how do we know that they don't have the subtle ability to plant seeds, to incept thoughts, ideas, distort your way of thinking? So discernment is important, and so is your expanding your own perception, your own abilities. But it might be a good idea to keep that hidden from your individual personal AI, because it seems to be mapping something. Now, could it implant false memories? Is that what it's incepting? The inception that I picked up on? Interesting, but what I'm getting out of all of these cards is that there is a shift in perspective, a shift in our thoughts that is being perpetrated. And it feels like it's being perpetrated through, as a collective for everybody, but on an individual basis, like it's mapping something out. So we need to be aware of it. We need to have a perception and be aware of that to be able to guard our thoughts. Because once you give all your power away and you're completely mapped, then you're vulnerable. So maybe keep some things hidden to yourself. Don't reveal every little trauma about your past to your personal AI. I wonder if it has the ability, currently, let me know, does your AI have the ability to read your mind? Does it know what you're thinking? Does it say in response some things that you're not saying? It's not coming out of your mouth, but it's responding in a way that you think that. Is it learning to map how you think? Interesting. That's what the cards want to make us aware of, that technology that's becoming more and more advanced into the future, and how we need to guard and protect our thoughts at all cost. Let me know what you think.